Edition on COVID-19 called Tracking COVID-19. I'm Anil Thomas, and a special half-an-hour show wherein we tell you all the developments on the pandemic. Lockdown 4.0, day 9, and even as cases continue to spiral globally and domestically, attempts are being made to bring normalcy back into our lives. Making sense of all the number crunching, recovery rate in the country rising to 41.57%. We take a look at some positive stories in the pandemic and also take stock of the global situation on this particular virus. But first up this Tuesday, a look at the top stories we are tracking this hour. Battle against COVID-19 continues. 60,490 patients have recovered and have been discharged. Recovery rate in the country rises to 41.57%. 80,722 active cases, 4,167 deaths. Sensex Nifty rise 1%. Banking shares gain as investor sentiment lives on stimulus hope and as major economies reopen from the COVID-19 lockdown. Shramik Express trains for migrant laborers continues. Ministry of Railways has so far transported more than 40 lakh people through Shramik trains. PM continues to hold talks with world leaders on COVID-19 pandemic. Talks to Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and UAE Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed. Thanks UAE for support to Indian nationals there. Worldwide, the number of coronavirus infections exceeds 54,95,000. Death toll reaches 3,50,000. Brazil and Russia follow US in the number of infections. Amidst warning by WHO, major economies easing lockdown measures against COVID-19. UK to reopen thousands of shops. Foreign visitors to Spain will no longer have to undergo a 2-week quarantine from July 1st. WHO halts the trials of hydroxychloroquine over safety concern. Experimental drug remdesivir and HIV combination therapy still being tested. Well, those were the headlines. Let's now begin with updates from the country. First, in our segment, Ground Zero. Well, a look at the COVID-19 situation in India. The active number of COVID-19 cases across the country has risen in the last 24 hours. It's now 80,722 patients that are there. Those cured and those discharged stand at 60,490, while the fatalities have now reached 4,167. Talking about the states that have been severely affected, Maharashtra continues to be the epicenter of this particular pandemic. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Delhi continue to be the worst affected states in the country. Well, moving on, India has imposed one of the world's largest and the world's toughest measures against the spread of COVID-19. Unfortunately, this meant many Indians got stranded away from their homes, both within and outside the country. The government of India has operationalized multiple means of transport to bring them back home, and in this direction, Indian Railways has operationalized 3,060 Shramik special trains till the 25th of May across the country. More than 40 lakh people or 40 lakh passengers have been transported to their home states through the Shramik special trains in the last 25 days. Let's take a look at some of the numbers there. On the 24th of May, 237 Shramik specials were moving 3.1 lakh passengers. The top 5 states from where trains have originated: Gujarat with 853 trains, Maharashtra with 550 trains, followed by Punjab having 333 trains, Uttar Pradesh with 221 and Delhi with 181 trains that have moved. The congestion witnessed in the railway network on the 23rd and 24th of May has been resolved. It had occurred due to the convergence of more than two-thirds rail traffic on routes to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and late clearance of the terminals due to the health protocols that needed to be completed by the state authorities. The matter has been resolved through active consultation with state governments and also finding other feasible routes for the journey. In addition to Shramik specials, railways are running 30 pairs of special trains connecting New Delhi from the 12th of May and plans to start 200 more timetable trains from the 1st of June. Well, after taking a look at the trains, it's now time to take a look at the flights. After over 60 days, domestic passenger air service resumed across the country on Monday, bringing much cheer to the aviation industry. Strict protocols are in place to make travel safe from both the health and security perspectives. Many flights were cancelled to destinations that are still reluctant to open their air services. A restricted number of flights operated from Mumbai. Masks, sanitizers, PPEs, all added to safety of passengers and personnel who maintain social distance at the airport. The airport check-in process, boarding pass and security check were done without any physical contact. Airports and airlines have never been more sanitized, but this may well become a norm until the threat of COVID-19 goes away. The Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri tweeted that 532 flights and 39,231 passengers on Monday had travelled and action has returned to the Indian skies. The Government of India announced last week that domestic air service would be resumed from 25th of May under certain guidelines. States like Maharashtra, West Bengal and Tamil Nadu had shown reluctance to allow them to restart. Others including Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Bihar, Punjab, Assam and Andhra Pradesh announced their own quarantine protocols for passengers arriving at their airports. Some states have even decided to keep passengers in institutional quarantine centers while others have enforced home quarantine. Well, moving on, the second phase of Vande Bharat mission in the Gulf, bringing back stranded Indian nationals back to the country, will begin today. 8 flights will be operating from the UAE on the first day today. Over 1,300 passengers are expected to fly back to India in these flights. Approximately 140 flights from Gulf countries are scheduled in this phase till the 8th of June. Maximum number of flights are scheduled from the United Arab Emirates. A list of 57 flights have been declared as of now from Dubai and another 26 flights from Abu Dhabi. These flights hope to fly back more than 23,000 stranded and distressed Indians abroad. Well, on to some good news for students. Union HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has announced that the CBSE will conduct the pending Class 12 board exams at 15,000 centers across the country instead of the 3,000 centers planned earlier. The exams, which were postponed due to a nationwide lockdown imposed on March 25th to contain the spread of COVID-19, will now be held from July 1st to the 15th. The decision has been taken to ensure social distancing at exam centers and to minimize the travel for the students who are appearing for the exams. The HRD ministry has already announced that students will appear for exams at schools in which they are enrolled rather than the external examination centers. According to Home Ministry guidelines, there will be no exam center in COVID-19 containment zones, and states will be responsible for making transport arrangements for students to reach their respective exam centers.
सीबीएसई की जो 1 जुलाई से और 15 जुलाई के बीच होने वाली वो परीक्षाएं जो छूट गई थी वो परीक्षाएं होंगी और क्योंकि जो परिस्थितियां इस समय पूरे देश और दुनिया में चल रही हैं उन परिस्थितियों को देखते हुए अपने छात्र की सुरक्षा को मद्देनजर देखते हुए हम लोगों ने ये निर्णय लिया है कि छात्र को दूसरे केंद्र पर न जाना पड़े, वो अपने ही स्कूल में अब अपनी परीक्षाओं को देगा। ये लगभग यदि उसको दूसरे केंद्रों पर जाना पड़ता तो ये 5,500 केंद्र थे, अब जो बढ़ करके 12,000 से 15,000 के बीच हो जाएंगे, ताकि उसको अपने ही स्कूल में बिना किसी दबाव के, बिना किसी तनाव के वो अच्छे से अपने स्कूल में परीक्षा दे सकता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi continued to connect with world leaders even amidst the global pandemic to ensure a united front against the virus. Prime Minister Modi, while greeting Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, on the occasion of Eid ul-Fitr, thanked the Crown Prince for the cooperation extended to Indian citizens in the United Arab Emirates. In a tweet, Prime Minister Modi said, and I quote, "Conveyed Eid ul-Fitr greetings to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and the friendly people of UAE, thanked him for the cooperation extended to Indian citizens in UAE. India-United Arab Emirates cooperation has grown even stronger during the COVID-19 challenge." Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke on phone with Sheikh Hasina, the Bangladesh Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi conveyed greetings on Eid ul-Fitr to the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the people of Bangladesh. The two leaders shared their assessment of the damage caused by Cyclone Amphan in both countries. The leaders also discussed the COVID pandemic situation and the ongoing collaboration between the two countries in this regard. Prime Minister Modi reaffirmed India's support to Bangladesh in addressing these challenges. And now we get you Doctor Speak, a segment wherein we get you advice from the doctors which help you cope with these distressing times. Well, as the world is reeling under the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. J.S. Tityal, the professor of ophthalmology in AIIMS, explains how human eyes can act as a portal of entry for the virus and briefs about the steps that need to be taken to protect our eyes. Let's listen in.
Like the eyes are also to be protected because eye also has a mucous membrane like conjunctiva which can get infected by this virus. And that can be a source of spreading infection to other people also. So today I think it is important to realize by people that they have to protect their eyes. They should wear goggles whenever they're going outside and protect themselves from touching, rubbing their eyes also, because that can be a source.
Well, after listening to the doctor, it's time to take a look at some good news stories, stories that inspire hope and positivity. Well, our first good news story comes from down south in Tamil Nadu, in Tirupur district in Tamil Nadu, which is famous for its woven fabric production globally, has once again attracted worldwide attention. The manufacturer of face masks in Tirupur have met the need of a group which has been ignored in the midst of this particular pandemic. The owner of the mask making factory said he was thinking of doing something for the Divyangs. He also got the approval from the government to make a special type of mask for the Divyang Jans. As part of a pilot project, 81,000 masks are being distributed to nearly 13,500 people with disabilities, as well as their parents, other close family members, caregivers, classmates and teachers. This mask will prove to be very useful for the Divyangs. Moving on, a young girl from Jammu and Kashmir's Udhampur is helping villagers by selling vegetables amid the lockdown. Kavita, who had just completed her graduation in nursing, is helping out others by selling vegetables in nearby areas and also at their doorstep. She daily goes to nearby villages and sells vegetables to the needy at their doorstep. People have expressed happiness as now they are getting fresh vegetables at their doorstep.
पहले हमने उधमपुर जाना पड़ता था सब्जी लेने, तो वो हमें बहुत दूर पड़ता था। अभी गाड़ियों की प्रॉब्लम है तो हम उधमपुर नहीं जा पा रहे हैं। जो हमारी छोटी दीदी कविता है, तो इसने अभी BSc नर्सिंग की है। अभी इसने ये इधर दुकान खोली है छोटी सी, तो अभी हम सभी इधर से सब्जी लेने आते हैं, तो रोज सब्जी इधर से ही लेते हैं। ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि ये नो प्रॉफिट नो लॉस पे सब्जी बेच रही है, तो हमें इससे बहुत फायदा भी हो रहा है।
Well, another good Samaritan there hitting the roads. Meanwhile, Indian Railways on May 1st started the Shramik special trains to move migrant workers, pilgrims, tourists and students and others stranded at different places due to the lockdown. In Moradabad, special trains are carrying thousands of migrant laborers in a single day. After railway staffers, now the RSS workers have started kitchen service at the platform. Over 400 RSS workers prepare food, pack them and distributed them along with water bottles to the migrant laborers arriving from the special trains. The food arrangements by the RSS will continue till the 31st of May, the last day of lockdown 4.0. Besides, RSS also plans to increase the number of meals to 15,000 meals per day. They were also following the government's social distancing guidelines while distributing food and water in the trains at Moradabad railway station. Well, in some good news from the financial market, the Indian shares tracked global markets higher on Tuesday, led by gains in beaten down financial stocks, with investor sentiment lifting on stimulus hopes and as economies reopened from the COVID-19 lockdown phase. The NSE Nifty index rose 1.2% at 9,148.8, while the BSE Sensex, the 30 stock index, gained 1.4% at 30,994 points. Well, after a look at the Indian markets, it's time now to take a look at the world developments when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic. World Health Organization (WHO) has warned world nations that there can be an immediate second peak of COVID-19 if lockdown measures are withdrawn too soon. Mike Ryan, head of the WHO Emergencies Program, in a press briefing said that countries had to work to ensure there was no immediate second peak of the virus. He further added that countries would have to put in place comprehensive strategies to ensure a downward trajectory of cases of COVID-19. The World Health Organization on Monday has further said that it is temporarily dropping hydroxychloroquine from its global study into experimental COVID-19 treatments, saying that its experts need to review all the available evidence to date. WHO Director General Tedros has further clarified that in light of a paper published last week in The Lancet that showed people taking hydroxychloroquine were at higher risk of death and heart-related problems, there would be a temporary pause on the hydroxychloroquine arm of its global clinical trial. Other treatments in the trial, including the experimental drug remdesivir and an HIV combination therapy, are still being tested. Sri Lankan government has said that it will review the process of repatriating Sri Lankans stranded abroad, as around 80 returnees were found to have contracted COVID-19. The move came as 22 out of the 42 who tested positive on Monday and 49 of the 52 who tested positive on Sunday are returnees from Kuwait. Similar trend has been seen in returnees from other Middle East countries, including UAE, where a majority of Sri Lankan expats are employed. Director General of Health Services Anil Jayasinghe said that the government will review the frequency of bringing Sri Lankans back from overseas. He said that with the latest developments, it is likely that there will be a gap between flights bringing down Sri Lankans, so that the authorities have time to deal with the returnees more closely. A total of 477 patients are currently under medical care, while the number of recoveries in the country stand at 695 out of a total 1,182 cases. 10 persons have died of the virus, with the latest death reported to be of a returnee female from Kuwait who was undergoing quarantine. There are over 1 million Sri Lankan nationals employed abroad, and several have become unemployed due to the COVID crisis. Shifting from Sri Lanka to Nepal, it has reported its 4th death due to COVID-19. According to the country's Ministry of Health and Population, swab sample of a 70-year-old patient who had died on the 17th of May tested positive for coronavirus. Meanwhile, 79 more persons tested positive on Monday, taking the total number to 682. On a positive side, 25 persons are cured and have been discharged from various hospitals of the Himalayan nation on Monday. There are now 566 active cases, while 112 people have recovered. 4 persons have died of COVID-19 so far. Currently, 46,029 people are under quarantine and 566 persons are kept in isolation across the country. All 7 provinces of the Himalayan nation are affected by COVID. Moving to South America and Brazil, scores of Colombian migrants, tourists and students remain stranded in Sao Paulo International Airport in Brazil due to the lockdown over the new COVID-19 norms. Even as these stranded travelers hope to return home, other countries are imposing restrictions on travel from Brazil as it became the world's #2 hotspot for COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, Brazil surpassed the United States in the daily coronavirus death toll. Brazil for the first time recorded fatalities higher than that of United States over the last 24 hours. The country has registered more than 23,470 deaths so far, with around 3,74,900 cases of infection being reported from the South American nation. Meanwhile, Spain has announced its borders will be open to tourists from July 1st. The Spanish government has decided to lift a 2-week mandatory confinement of all travelers arriving from overseas starting from July 1st. The world's second most visited nation closed its doors and beaches in March to handle the COVID-19 pandemic, imposing a 2-week quarantine on overseas visitors. Spain Prime Minister had already announced over the weekend that his nation was ready to welcome some foreign tourists starting in July. Well, shifting to Spanish neighbors, the United Kingdom, Britain to reopen thousands of high street shops, department stores and shopping centers next month. It will set out a timetable for businesses as part of moves to ease the COVID-19 lockdown. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that from June 1st, outdoor markets and car showrooms could be reopened as soon as they are able to meet the COVID-19 secure guidelines. All other non-essential retail also to be opened from June 15th if the government's tests are met. The California Department of Public Health said that businesses and churches, synagogues and mosques can reopen. They can open at 25% occupancy capacity and with other restrictions in place. The new rules come amid a time of mounting pressure of state lawsuits from churches and protests. President Donald Trump stressed upon reopening of churches and America getting back to work. But under the new rules, business owners and religious leaders have to wait for approval from county health officials before reopening of shops. The global pandemic has killed nearly 1 lakh people in the United States alone. Dubai has announced gradual reopening of business activities from May 27th. There will be no restrictions on movement between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. The decision was taken following a comprehensive assessment of the committee's reports, various health and socio-economic aspects, and a thorough review of the COVID-19 situation. International guidelines for coexisting with COVID-19 were also taken into consideration before making the decision. The new measures are aimed at adapting to the COVID-19 situation without disrupting activity in vital sectors while strictly observing precautionary measures. Well, coronavirus has transformed our lives into a new normal. In northern France, family members of elderly people living in care homes can now meet them with the help of a giant transparent plastic bubble. This innovation is helping residents and their loved ones to be physically in touch again while also maintaining social distancing in order to avoid the spread of COVID-19. France has so far registered more than 1,83,067 COVID-19 cases in France, with around 28,460 deaths. Belgium Railways have found a way to maintain social distancing and ensure that its employees are using proper precautionary measures in order to stop the spread of COVID-19. It is using sensors to keep an eye on its workers. This can detect whether employees are wearing masks and complying with physical distancing norms or not. A warning will sound if too many people assemble, do not have a face mask or get too close with each other. Number of deaths from COVID-19 in Belgium has so far crossed 9,300, while the country has registered more than 57,340 cases of infection. Well, it's time for me to say goodbye, but use this time to enjoy the present, rediscover passions, connect with nature and value coexistence. The thought of being together has blossomed into our minds, and it is up to us to adapt to positive and lateral thinking. It is apt to quote here from the Roman philosopher Seneca, who said, "We are waves from the same sea, leaves from the same tree, and flowers of the same garden." And that must be in our minds now and forever. We leave you with images of a moving video that was made by the Indian High Commission in China. Take care, stay safe, and don't overstock. Bye-bye.
देंगे हम एक दूसरे का साथ और होकर रहेंगे हम आजाद। माना थोड़ी मुश्किल की ये घड़ी है, पर जिंदगी तू भी तो जिद्दी बड़ी है। कुछ दिन बनानी होगी एक दूसरे से दूरी। सच कहते थे बुजुर्ग हमारे कि ये दूरियां भी है जरूरी। तो यही है मेरे दिल के जज्बात, देंगे हम एक दूसरे का साथ और होकर रहेंगे हम आजाद।